While Canada has a moment to breathe here since there is this reprieve on U.S. tariffs for basically the next month, the question is, how are we going to use our time for now? Now, the Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, has scheduled an economic summit on U.S. trade relations for tomorrow, with the trade war looming. And joining us now is one of Trudeau's key council members hosting this summit, the Honourable Jean Charest, former Premier of Quebec and former Deputy Prime Minister, and now partner with Thierry Couture-Jolicoeur. Mr. Charest, it's great to have you back with us. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much, John.
So let's just start with this summit and what you hope to accomplish with this event.
Well, it's all about mobilization right now, John. I mean, Mr. Trump, whether he thought this would happen or not, has really created in Canada a sense of urgency in regards to how we deal, of course, with this tariff story and also with his economic agenda, because it's not just about tariffs. It's about his growth agenda, which includes reducing corporate income taxes, continuing to reduce personal income taxes, deregulating, reducing the size of government. All of this will have a huge impact on Canada that we need to understand and address. And the other part of it, which is very positive for us, and who knows, one day we'll thank Donald Trump for this, is that he's forcing Canada to have a hard look at ourselves, of how we run our economy, how we deal with natural resources, energy, interprovincial trade barriers. So tomorrow is an opportunity to bring together business leaders, union leaders, people from all walks of life to examine where we are right now and what we need to do. And if you can allow me, one thing we need to continue to do in the very short term is double down on talking to our American neighbors. The most credible people with Donald Trump are his own business leaders, small business leaders, and people, governors or legislators, congressmen, senators. They are the ones we need to talk to so that they speak up and speak to the very vital relationship between Canada in the United States.
I do want to dig into some of the details of all those opportunities, if you will, that are in front of us for thinking about our future. But first, just on the tariff story, what level of confidence do you have that we can avoid that 25% tariff scenario that everybody is very concerned about right now?
Donald Trump is unpredictable, John, as you know. So, and everyone will just, every day he confirms that. That being said, I mean, there's a pretty good path here. We've been through the first episode where he put it forward, back down, saying, well, I've made big gains. What we did essentially was reiterate what we had already put on the table. Well, that's fine. I mean, he needs to be able to say he's had some gains. I'm confident that if we are able in the next months to address some of the issues he's concerned about, he's very worried about energy. He wants to be able to have some autonomy there. He wants to be able to reduce the price of energy. Canada can help him get to that objective. It's the idea here is to go to where he is and be helpful in regards to enabling his agenda. The other part that I'm encouraged by is that, the American press have given a pretty extensive, detailed coverage of the consequences of tariffs coming imposed on Canada on the American economy. And it's not a good story for the American consumer. So that is something that we need to continue to hammer away at, so that Donald Trump is able to understand that there are better solutions than tariffs, and I'm confident that we can get there.
Well, when we think about some of the long-term things that I would imagine you'll be talking about, including new markets and new opportunities, some of that could have a longer road. I mean, heck, in terms of our relationship with Europe, you spent years working on developing that. But I was interested in your comment about interprovincial trade, and I heard Anita Anand talking about possibly some progress in the next few months. That seems like potentially low-hanging fruit on an issue that a lot of people in business have complained about for years. Could we make our economy more productive with a quick fix there in a short amount of time?
Well, the answer is yes, we can make real progress. We need to, check our expectations here, because this is, it's much more complex, as usually is the case. With that being said, let's look at sectors in which we could move rapidly, like the recognition of qualifications and trades, for example. There's a lot of barriers between our respective provinces. We could move very rapidly on that and allow more labor mobility among, across Canada, which would be a great gain in itself. And then there's sectoral areas like liquor and others in which we could move very rapidly. I think we're more at the roadmap time right now, John, and we can move. I just want to make sure that we also check our expectations and get things done as opposed to just announcing things. Well, and I don't know if you catch what I'm saying here, but it's like pipelines. Yes, by all means, let's do it. But let's figure out the roadmap to get from point A to point B and execute on it, get it done, which is the mindset we should bring to this meeting.
No, it makes a lot of sense. Accountability is an important condition here, but the time is right to have the conversation and the opportunities there. One final question for you, because since you mentioned Donald Trump is unpredictable, and we have to prepare for some other short-term considerations, like how we would support the economy in a worst-case scenario. When it comes to how we use our capital, there's also a conversation with business. Actually, I spoke to the former Bank of Canada Governor Stephen Poloz about this yesterday, and used the analogy, if you give someone a fish, that might help them today. If you give them a fishing rod, that can really prepare us for the future. What should we think about if, in a worst-case scenario, when we're already running deep deficits, we do have to do more short-term spending to help the economy?
Well, that's a judgment call. And actually, our deficit debt story, John, is better than the United States. I mean, we're in much better shape than they are. But Canadians don't like where we are right now. It's interesting because from a value point of view, Canadians are small c conservatives. They want their governments to balance their books. They don't want adventurous governments. But if we need to spend to be able to move, for example, on infrastructure, and infrastructure is a big deal in regards to managing natural resources, whether mining or oil and gas. I mean, the story of developing resources is also infrastructure, and that's investment. And then there's an arbitrage between what government assumes in terms of cost. So in the short term, yes, we can spend more. We need to be very strategic about it. And if we get that right, we're going to move to a place where we'll be much less vulnerable to our American neighbor, and we'll be more autonomous and a more prosperous country.
Josh Ray will be watching tomorrow closely. Thanks very much for your time at this busy point. Appreciate it.